Hey everyone, welcome to the Nitty Gritty of Real Estate podcast. Today we're going to be discussing in podcast number 67, 5 reasons why you want to move to Tucson, Arizona. So let's get into it. Welcome everyone. Hey, Tom Krieger here with the TJK team over at Keller Williams. We're here today basically to promote our city because we love our city. We want people to know how wonderful it is to live in Tucson, what we have to offer the general population, and some really undiscovered areas that I think you'll be pleasantly surprised to discover. So I'm here with Joe Paddock, our number one buyer's agent, and Joe Brown, our marketing director, and also a native to Tucson.
This is true.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So Joe, let's talk about weather. Tucson, I mean, it's not raining all the time. It's not Seattle. What is it about Tucson that people love the weather?
Well, I would say people love that, like you said, it's sunny most of the year. About 80% of the year it is full sun or partly sunny. We do have a little bit of a rainy season with the monsoons, but after being sunny and warm, it's kind of a welcome reprieve. One thing that I like about the monsoons is that great creosote bush smell that comes off. There is nothing like the smell of rain in the desert.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. You go out after it rains and it's almost like a flower smell out there. It's just so pungent out there, and a lot of people go, what is that smell? Because they go, oh, that's the smell of rain on asphalt. No, that's not. That's the creosote smell that we have.
Yeah, you can actually take creosote, and if you breathe on it, it will open up the pores, and it's meant to take in moisture.
Yeah. So from that aspect, that's awesome. And so you said it's about 80%. So about 295, 300 days out of the year, it's pretty sunny.
It's pretty sunny.
Or really sunny.
That
right?
is true, yes.
Okay, and so tell me what else besides the sun would draw people to Tucson that they love. I mean, I know, but let's share it with our audience.
Well, I think a lot of people think, oh, the desert, it's heat, it's hot all the time. It's not. I mean, we do have some warm months, but most of our year is absolutely beautiful. Mm-hmm. You're talking like jeans and short sleeves, not bundling up for the, freezing cold and frigid weather, anything like that. Get a little bit of the freezing temperatures occasionally, but nothing too bad. It's really pretty, what word I'm looking for?
Temperate?
There you go. That would be a good one.
All right. Well, hey, Joe, Jill talked about monsoons. A lot of people are like, what do you mean monsoons? It's a desert, right? So why don't you speak to, first of all, the time that we have for our monsoons, what they really are like, what are the dangers, if there are any dangers? Sure. What are the pleasantries of having moisture?
Yeah, so I would say most of the people who snowbird here don't get to see the monsoon season, which is unfortunate because it is a really sort of magical time of the year. I get it. It's over 100 degrees outside, so being back in Wisconsin, where you're from, is probably a better place to be to avoid the heat. But yeah, when those monsoons start hitting, you get lots of cirrocumulus clouds building up, and you go, oh, it's probably going to rain in the afternoon. You get them built up in the morning, and the rain comes in the afternoon. I'd say the biggest danger is the flash flooding. Okay. Which most people go, well, I can outrun. I've heard someone say this to me. They can outrun the flash flood, and I'm like, I don't think you've ever seen a real flash flood, because it's serious here. You have, especially in washes where they're dry, and immediately they're filled with a wall of water and debris, and that's where it can be really dangerous. And we do have a stupid motorist law here, where if you have to get rescued because you took the chance to drive through it, you pay for it. Yeah. I think that's fair.
I think it's very fair. Now, you talk about the monsoons. One of the things I love about the monsoons is we have Mount Lemmon here in Tucson, and Mount Lemmon is the southernmost ski resort in all the United States. So when monsoons come in, you talked about the clouds building up. They build up over the mountains, for the rise of the heat. It takes the convection currents. The cloud formation starts, and then what you see is the lightning that dances
Yeah.
from one side of Tucson all the way to the other side from the mountains, and
In
it
an
is
instant.
spectacular. I think about 80% of the lightning pictures that you see that are like photographs in that are taken in Tucson.
They are
It's
there. It's beautiful,
spectacular.
and you can see literally like lines in the sky where the rain is coming down, and
Yeah.
you can watch it come. Good thing is, it doesn't typically last too terribly long, just enough for
Yeah.
a refresh.
Yeah, yeah.
And it knocks that heat, and it's nice and cool for a while, and then she warms up, and we're back to normal temperatures.
Yeah, yeah, but even going back to the Mount Lemmon that you
Yeah.
were talking about, you get into like 30-degree cooler temperature. So when it's 100 here, you take an hour, about an hour trip.
70.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
really nice up there.
go cook out, go fish up there.
Yeah.
It's awesome up there.
Yeah, and one thing people may not realize if they live in like the plain states, okay, like the Midwest, is that when you get to the top of that mountain, even though it's cooler, the sun's stronger.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
have to put some sun lotion on, okay? SPF 50 is probably the best. And keep you, or wear a hat if you're, like my brothers and you're bald, you want to wear a hat because you don't want any cancer ash there. Outdoor activities. Let's talk about some of the outdoor activities.
Well, because the weather is so nice for so much of the year, it gives you a lot of opportunity to do things outdoors and enjoy it. One of the, to me, most notable things about Tucson is how bike friendly it is. Any time of the year, really. In the summer, it's usually in the mornings, but you'll see biking clubs and groups out taking advantage of all the bike trails and bike paths. We have the Loop, which is a little over 100 miles around Tucson.
Wow, 100 miles on a bike.
On a bike, yeah.
I'm getting tired thinking about that.
I know. But it is nothing for people to go out and do like a 40-mile ride a day. Again, in the wintertime, pretty much any time of day. If you're looking in the summer, you're probably looking at starting at like 4 or 5 in the morning. But it's very bike friendly.
Okay. And what I would assume there's probably hiking paths too. You got mountains, you got desert, right? So what about our hiking trails, Joe?
Yeah, we've got a ton around here, and Stephanie and I love to go. My wife Stephanie love to go sort of reset and get back out into nature. It's very easy to access those trails. Half an hour max, maybe from the center of the city to get out to one of those trails. And we do have 27 trailheads here in the Tucson greater area.
Yeah,
So,
that's great. Now I know that there are the easy trails for the old guys, and then there are the ones for the the young folks out there. Some of those trailheads can go 2,000 to 3,000 feet from the beginning to the top, and other ones like the ones out west here by Picture Rocks and that, the elevation change is only like 187. So you can just have a nice casual walk, get some of the city views from there, see some of the foliage that's out there, some of the wildlife. You'll come across like a mule deer or maybe a coyote or a javelina. You'll see the regular types of wildlife too, like rabbits and hawks and birds and stuff like that. So it's awesome. What else, as far as activities, do you see for maybe the younger folk in Tucson, like kids kind of activities?
yeah.
Well, with it being, again, so nice throughout the year, soccer is pretty much year-round. There's all sorts of club teams.
We have
There's
the Fort Lowell Soccer Shootout.
Fort Lowell
as well.
Soccer Shootout is a big one, yes. A lot of the AYSO club teams and all of that participate. There's not volleyball, that's not outdoors. There is sometimes, true. There's baseball is a big one. There is softball, and there's also a lot of adult leagues for this. There's actually even like adult kickball leagues and things like that. So you can find something.
Excellent. Well, let's talk about maybe another reason why you'd want to move to Tucson, and that's education. And so, Jill, we're going to again start this off with you because you are the education czar here on the team. Tell us a little bit about the school systems and why education in Tucson. A lot of people think, and I hear this because I'm originally from Wisconsin. A lot of people go, the Southwest, their education sucks down there and all that. But realistically, tell us the reason why you'd want to be pulled to Tucson for educational purposes.
Well, to me, the biggest reason is there is so much variety. Unlike a lot of other places, we don't have school districts based on the county. We have it here in Tucson. We've got the Flowing Wells District, the Amphi District, we've got TUSD, Catalina. So you've got a lot of different choices there. Depending on where you live, obviously you live in a district. However, you also have a lot of different options as far as charter schools go. Basis is, a top-ranked charter school. There's several campuses here. Some people might be familiar with Dr. Lehman, who has several different Lehman Academies around town. There are different charter schools that focus on science, technology, and then in addition to that, there is also private schools. And something unique here too is that, people think private schools, I can't afford that. Well, Arizona offers the opportunity that you can have, yourself and friends contribute their tax dollars directly to a specific private school on behalf of your child. So you don't have to pay the entire fee. They'll deduct what's contributed. So that makes some things that maybe normally wouldn't be an option for some people, makes it an option for them.
Hey everyone, we want to interrupt this episode to let you know that we are a Keller Williams Southern Arizona franchise.
Also, we are licensed realtors practicing equal housing.
Now, let's get you back to the podcast. So like myself, being a grandfather, I don't have any kids that are going to school anymore, but I could donate to, let's say, an Amphi school, and then that donation could be applied to somebody else, or I could say I'd like it to be applied to this student, okay? So it could be a relative or a friend or somebody like that.
Right, yeah. And so that's the other thing. You can donate to a public school, and that is different than donating to a private school. You can donate to both. If donating to a public school, you can designate it for maybe you really want to support their music program. You can designate it to go to the music department. You can designate it to go to help pay for field trips for the kids. Private school, you can designate it towards the tuition of a specific student.
Excellent.
We should say that we are licensed realtors, not licensed tax advisors.
Amen.
That is true. That is a good point.
And we're not politicians. Thank you very much.
Definitely always need to check, because while most people do qualify to get the tax refund on that, I will say not everybody does. So you do need to speak with your tax advisor as far as how that could best work for you.
Okay, great. Let's talk about some of the education in the medical industry here, Joe.
Yeah. So we have some really great ones, I think, on the cutting edge. We do have the University of Arizona here, who is a part of Banner, UMC Banner, University Medical Center Banner, and they do a lot of cutting edge things. They when we had the shooting here with Gabby Giffords,
yes,
she went there. We had one of the top brain surgeons here working on her and helping save her life, which was pretty incredible to see.
Yeah, I just saw a little article with her and her husband out walking around. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's amazing that what they're able to do these days. And then up in Phoenix, and maybe Jill can talk a little bit about this better than I can, but the Mayo Clinic is up in Phoenix, and they do a lot of great things.
They do. The Mayo Clinic, and then there's also MD Anderson Cancer Centers up there. Both of them have a lot of different opportunities that you can't find elsewhere because they are such research-based hospitals. You're able to find, the newest technology and treatments and things like that available. And in addition to that, surgeons, doctors that have better or I can't say better, but more advanced certification and more advanced experience, providing you with a really good treatment.
So one of the reasons why a lot of people want to move to the Arizona area, Tucson or Phoenix, is because of the clinics here, okay? Because as we grow old, as we age in place, we're going to need more help from the medical industry. So having Mayo Clinic within 45-minute drive of certain areas of Tucson is awesome, right?
And historically speaking, we had a lot of doctors recommend back east for people to move out here who had tuberculosis problems.
Yeah.
So that's one reason why this area grew so quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so great. Just a side note. And another side note, Jill is, because we didn't say this, Jill was a teacher and a cancer survivor. So she's an amazing person all around too. So
amazing person.
Yeah, just wanted to put that one out there.
And the next podcast will be called the Jill Paddock Show.
Right. She deserves it.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about events here in Tucson. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on in Tucson. A lot of people are aware of, and then some people aren't aware of certain things. Like, for instance, we have something called the El Tour de Tucson. And what is that, right? Well, it's a marathon, but only on a bicycle. not running. It's like 104 miles,
Yes.
right? And people come from all over the world. And I was told that not only on the Tour de Tucson, but also the people that are practicing for the Tour de France come here and ride up Mount Lemmon and ride back down so that they get used to the heat. And if they can do that in the heat and the elevation, it's much better when they're over in France going through the mountains over there in France. So we have the bike tour. What about some other?
The bike tour, can we jump in real quick
Yeah,
and
go
talk
ahead.
about how it is, there's the full one is the 100 miles, but don't get discouraged if you're not the 100-mile biker, because they do have shorter ones. So we really have, something for everybody in that. Everybody can participate and take part in it and enjoy the experience.
And it's a big deal because the roads get shut down.
Roads get shut down, traffic gets diverted. Yeah, it's huge.
And besides that, the other major event that we have here that attracts people literally from all over the world is the Tucson Gym and Mineral Show.
Which just ended.
It just ended. Yeah, and it's about a month long. And at the convention center, it's all around Tucson.
Yeah.
You can go visit multiple locations. You can look at fossils, really great fossil displays. We've had other cities trying to vie to take that away from us, but it is a great revenue maker for the city, and so they don't want to lose it, obviously. And it's been here for years.
I grew up here too, as long as I can remember. And the U of A, does a great job bringing in geology students and things like that. So they'll have a whole area dedicated to kids and exploring fossils and different types of rocks and just educating them. Kids have a great time too. So it's not just adults.
And downtown gets just packed with everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we got the Gem and Mineral Show. We've got the Tour de Tucson. What about, let's say, some places outside of Tucson direct, maybe a little bit out farther?
Yeah. So we do have the rodeo, which is going on right now. And most people probably don't know, who don't live in Arizona. We get days off for the rodeo.
Yeah. Kids off of school, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we don't get
President's
Day, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then it gets swapped for rodeo days. Okay. So people listening are probably like, oh, those hicks out there.
Well, there's a lot of us that say the presidents aren't worth having their own days anymore anyways, right? So I'd rather celebrate the cowboy.
Oh, yeah. It took me a long time to realize not everybody gets rodeo days. In fact, not even Phoenix gets rodeo days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually do have a rodeo. We do have a regular parade that goes through the town, so you can get tickets. It's a pretty cool thing. One of the things I really liked when I first moved to Tucson years ago was the street festivals. We have this street festival here called 4th Avenue Street Festival, and you can go down there and find all kinds of art, some really cool stuff, and great food.
Yes.
I go down there and find some great barbecue. There's some great street taco people down there. You can have a few beers, sit around, or a glass or two of wine and sit around and just people watch, or you can get some really interesting artwork. I've got some pieces. In fact, in my office here, I've got a piece that I bought from the 4th Avenue Fair. One of the things I also like about that is that you get to meet the most interesting people. There's a lot of people that live in central Tucson that attend that fair and they just hang out. And you could be sitting on a chair underneath a tent having a beer, and the guy right next to you is 75 years old, and you find out he's a well-known author and he lives right around the corner. It's like, wow, it's very interesting. So the street fairs here are really a lot of fun, along with, like our food trucks, right? We have a tremendous variety of food trucks here in Tucson. A lot of people don't realize that that's like, to me, a hidden gem, to be able to just go to this little food truck and maybe get a Sonoran dog or get maybe some French tacos. You ever heard of French tacos in Tucson? They're here.
Yeah, we have a cultural confluence when it comes to food, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I'm interested in that. And so then lastly, quickly, we have the Sonoran Museum here, which is really a museum about desert life. You can go see rattlesnakes, you can see javelina, you can go see coyotes in a safe environment. You're not handling the rattlesnakes, right? You can see all kinds of different species of animals and insects in that. And it's a great education. I'm assuming, Jill, that when you were teaching that maybe there were like field trips to that?
There are field trips. Each of the schools have kind of different plans as far as what field trips to do, but Desert Museum is always on there at some point, or at least once in your elementary education experience. And they do focus a lot on education and teaching, preservation and conservation, all of that of our desert environment. And it's also really interesting to learn how people used to survive here before we had air conditioning and running water and all of that.
They did survive? I thought they
Right?
moved down here after air conditioning was invented.
Yeah.
So let's shift again, because we're in like item number 4. The fourth reason to come down here is the growing tech business that's down here. A lot of people don't realize what's happening down here. So, Joe, you're kind of the techie guy. So why don't you speak to that?
So kind of going back to the University of Arizona, they're a main reason why the city has flourished even when we didn't have the industry here. So we have Davis-Monthan and U of A, and also Raytheon. And
Davis-Monthan is our Air Force base, and some say that's also like a secret base here. There's some military intelligence that is in Davis-Monthan, so there's some high-tech people here.
Yeah, exactly. And there is, I think, a reason probably why all of those entities sort of work together. Right, so you have the university training engineers to go, and even people will move here to go to the university to work at Raytheon, and same with DM, in Davis-Monthan, as we call it. But another side note, I want to kind of interesting fact: we have the longest standing university rivalry with ASU and U of A. Interstate rivalry.
Really?
Yeah. So since before we were a state, even became a state, part of the United States, we were still a territory. And in 1885 was when the university was established, University of Arizona, and then we have the longest running. We found an actual tournament cup in a basement at the U of A somewhere, proving that we were.
Oh, wow.
As
very interesting. See?
I didn't know that.
It's a school day here with nitty-gritty.
Exactly. So it's just kind of a fun little snippet with that. But another thing, U of A has a great optics department, and they work with NASA often. OSIRIS-REx, which is another recent launch that NASA did. University of Arizona had a big influence with that. So lots of telescopes. We have light ordinances here because we have telescopes around up on Mount Lemmon and out on Kitt Peak, another nearby peak around here. And so we can't be too bright in the city, otherwise we ruin the look of things. So we do have a lot of astrophotographers come out here because we have pretty clean as in
clean skies.
Yeah, no light pollution,
clean
right?
and clear skies.
So kind of interesting stuff.
So solar too, a lot of people, when you go to California, you see a lot of, when you're driving through Palm Desert and all that, you'll see a lot of the windmills there, the big wind turbines here. Here you'll see farms of solar panels. I mean, square miles of solar panels. At the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, they're using solar a lot. The city of Tucson has got solar farms in the northwest section of the city. We're seeing more and more solar being utilized here in Tucson because we have almost 300 days a year with sunshine.
See, if you look, a lot of the public schools and the public buildings, they provide covered parking, which you think is great, but it's solar panels.
Multi-purpose.
Right up there, yeah. So our technology is here, and we have more and more businesses moving in here. Some of the businesses that have moved here already, Raytheon, Caterpillar. We talked about
ADP.
Yes, ADP. Also, we talked about Raytheon hired 3,000 new engineers over the last couple of years. We know that because as real estate agents, we're dealing with a lot of engineers. So Tucson is growing.
Amazon, we have 2 major warehouses here.
Two major Amazon warehouses here. We're in that quarter where product is going to come up through Mexico, through the United States, into the United States, through Arizona, through Tucson. and through Phoenix, out of Arizona into Las Vegas, and then disperse from there. So we're seeing a lot of companies coming here because of the ease of distribution. We're only, 4 hours away from the ocean.
Right.
Really, I mean, it's it's a
Yeah.
morning drive to go to the Pacific Ocean, right? It's 4.5 to, well, maybe for most people it's 5.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
For me, it's a 4 hour drive up to Vegas. So there are, you can get to LA in 6 hours. It's not that far from major distribution points of interest.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the historical significance. Now, being transplanted here from Wisconsin, 20 years ago, I don't have as much in the form of personal experience and knowledge about the historical aspect, like cultural confluence, the architecture, the copper boom, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to rely on the two of you to talk about that. So let's first of all talk about the one that everybody knows about, Tombstone.
So Tombstone, we even have a lot of reenactments happen,
Yep.
which is really cool when you go and see it. So everyone has probably seen the movie, very popular movie Tombstone, based around that, and there are historic facts that are in that. They're aggrandized a little bit because it's obviously Hollywood.
Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah, they have to do that. But yeah, you could go into the different saloons and things that actually existed
Yep.
and still exist today. And people are still finding artifacts from that era, which is pretty wild. And even nearby, there is a Bisbee. So you
Yep.
go through Tombstone to get to Bisbee. And that was one of the largest cities during the push westward between San Francisco and New York. So
Yeah.
that was the largest city between those two major
It was, and at one time it was the richest city in America.
Yeah, go stay at the Copper Queen and take a haunted tour.
Yeah,
and
take a haunted
it's fun.
tour, right. So let's talk about some things that grow right around Tucson. Like Pima cotton.
Yeah, so that's kind of another big one that we have. That's one of the 5 C's of Arizona, and that is copper, cattle, cotton, citrus, and climate. So those are the main things that historically we've been known for. A little less so today, but yeah, when you look on a T-shirt and you see Pima cotton, that came from Pima County, and the Pima, named after the Pima Indians.
Yep.
Tohono O'odham, also kind of synonymously named. That is Pima cotton.
Interesting.
Yeah, big industry.
Okay. And then last, let's talk about, we have so much culture here. We have Native Americans. We have Spanish. We have the influence from China that a lot of people don't realize, that the Chinese influence that we have here. We have influence from the Eastern Europeans as they come forward. We just won an award, Joe.
So the UNESCO Creative City of Gastronomy Award,
Okay.
we're the only city out of the entire world to be given this award. And mainly the reason...
In the United States?
No, in the world.
Really?
In the world, yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
UNESCO is international.
Okay.
And the biggest reason is because we have been cultivating this land for over 4,000 years. And it hasn't just been from one culture. It's been Tohono O'odham started it. And we had Chinese immigrants sort of have their influence on the culture and on the food that they're bringing in. And the same with Spanish. That was another big one. We have fantastic Mexican food restaurants here. In fact, I read an article, and I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but in Mesa, it was named the #1 restaurant in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a Hispanic restaurant, Mexican food, delicious stuff. Especially our Sonoran influenced Mexican food. That's, in my opinion, the best.
The best.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really interesting to see Spanish missionaries have their influence and bringing that up here with us, and Chinese immigrants, and then the European influence coming, with the westward push. So we really are a confluence of cultures around here.
Excellent. Well, Jill, any more to add to the 5 reasons why?
No, just
Okay.
that you need to come check it out for yourself. And I think everybody has their favorite. So I'd be interested to hear what our viewers' favorite is.
So you can contact us if you have any more questions about Tucson in general or Arizona, the Phoenix area too. Look right below here. It'll give you all the information how to get a hold of us. I want to thank you for listening to the nitty gritty of real estate, and you can ask us for our Tucson relocation guide, and it's got all this information in. Until next time, have a great day, America.
Hey, thank you for listening and watching the Nitty Gritty podcast here with the Tom J. Krieger team. If you are thinking about buying a home, selling a home, or even investing in real estate, please reach out to us. We are local here in Tucson, Arizona, but we are also connected to over 4,000 agents across the US. So again, looking to buy, sell, or invest in your hometown, reach out to us and let us connect you.